Alright, what's up everybody? I'm just going to show my Super Nintendo collection. This is most of it. I think I have maybe 5 or 10 more games that aren't represented here. And they're probably in another box with my Sega Genesis games, I hope. But we'll start off with Super Mario All-Stars. And of course this is a classic. It has all the old Mario games plus the lost levels. And everyone should have this in their Super Nintendo collection. And here is Super Tennis. It's fun. This was, I think, one of the first games that came out on the system. And here is Royal Rumble. Sorry, man, my eyes are bad. And that's a LJN game. And here is the arcade game, WrestleMania the arcade game. Very cool game. I think that one has Doink the Clown in it. I like playing with Doink the Clown. And this is Rap Jam, and made by Motown. And if you ever wanted to play basketball, playing Flavor Flav, this is your game right here. I think LL Cool J is in it. Maybe Method Man, I forget. And here is the Lion King. This one is really tough. Unnecessarily tough, because otherwise it'd be a pretty fun game, but just some of the stuff you gotta do in it to beat it is crazy. And here is Final Fight by Capcom. Another classic. NBA Jam, total classic. I remember a friend of mine had the codes to get like the Beastie Boys and Bill Clinton, and that just blew my mind. Like, you could play with like Bill Clinton and the Beastie Boys. That's pretty cool. And here is NHL Stanley Cup. It's another one of, I think, the earlier titles on the Super Nintendo. And the Incredible Hulk. This one's fun. Unnecessarily hard. It's hard to beat. I don't think I ever beat this one. But it's fun. And this is John Madden Football. I think that says 92. Maybe 92 or 93, I can't read it with my naked eye. I see it on the screen now, 93. So I think this is one of the first John Madden games ever made for the Super Nintendo. I don't think there might have been a 92. I don't think there was a Madden in 91 for the Super Nintendo. And SimCity, another classic, and this is one that's just still fun to play. Pop it in and you know, it's just fun. Like a few of the NES and SNES games are just that way. They're, you know, graphically obviously nowadays they're not impressive, but they're fun. And Shaq Fu. What can you say about Shaq Fu? It's a legend. I wouldn't call it a classic. Baseball Simulator 1000. I think this was another one of the first games released on the Super Nintendo. And believe it or not, it's a pretty fun baseball game. And Saturday Night Slam Masters by Capcom. So this is pretty good. It's one that's still fun to play, but this one, it gets old quick, but it's fun. Skulljagger. This is another early release on the Super Nintendo. Another one that's kind of unnecessarily hard, and not much else to say about it, but it's fun. And I have the instruction manual for that. It's like a huge comic book too. And Rise of the Robots. This one has music by Brian May of Queen on it. I mean, for whatever that's worth, but this was overhyped when it first came out, and it's kind of a meh fighting game. So, and the Flintstones. As you know, I do like my movie games, and it was always interesting to see what they would do, how they would make a movie into a game. And this one was pretty fun if I remember, but also unnecessarily hard. And Dragon's Lair, which, man, you know, they made the Game Boy version of Dragon's Lair is actually pretty fun. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't have done it with, you know, a 16-bit game, but they didn't. It's very lame. And I don't think I have the NES version. I never played it, but I hear it's lame as well. And Emmitt Smith Football, which, to be honest with you, I do not remember much about this. If it's fun or I don't know. Have to go and watch a review of this on YouTube later, because I absolutely have no memory of that. And Pink Goes to Hollywood. Again, this is one that I don't have any memory of, so I'll have to check out a YouTube review on that later. Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City. This is a classic, and I don't care what anybody says, it's fun. It's also unnecessarily hard, but it's fun. I mean, you could spend an afternoon with this game, or an evening, whatever. Pitfall, The Mayan Adventures. Yes, I like this one. You may remember I didn't much care for the Pitfall game on the NES, but this one's awesome. I would definitely call this one a classic. And, you know, if you have a Super Nintendo and you don't have this game, I'd highly recommend this one. It's fun. It's kind of like, I mean, it's not like anything, but it's kind of like Donkey Kong. You know, the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong, kind of a platformer like that. It's fun and lots of interesting things in it. And Jeopardy, the Deluxe Edition. This one's fun. I always like game show games on the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, and this one's no exception. It's fun. I think I have the Wheel of Fortune on Sega Genesis, but I'm not sure if I have it on Super Nintendo. And Ken Griffey Jr., Winning Run. This one is amazing. I mean, for the time, I think this is probably the best baseball game on the Super Nintendo. And I'm not sure if this was the first one or the second one. There were several of them made, I think 2 of them. And I also have this on Game Boy. And I think like the only other baseball game that comes close to this would be Frank Thomas's Big Hurt Baseball. Those are both probably the, you know, the 2 best baseball games on the SNES, in my opinion. And here's Madden 98. So this is one of the last Maddens released for the Super Nintendo. I think this might have even been one of the last Super Nintendo games made. You know, not the last, but it was probably in like the last dozen or so that were released. And you know, probably the best Madden game you'll find on the NES, because it's the newest and most advanced. So if you're into Madden. And here we have Brunswick World Tournament Champions, a bowling game. And like game show games, I always like bowling games. And they're just fun. Like, you wouldn't think that a bowling game would be fun, but they are. Every bowling game I've ever played, or almost every bowling game I've ever played on the NES and SNES, are fun. And I got one more thing to show you. Hold on right quick. I got to go get it. Okay, I'm back. I had this in with my NES stuff the other day, and I figured I'd wait to show it till I did my Super Nintendo video. And This is probably my favorite. I guess we'll call it an add-on. It's not really a game for the Super Nintendo, and it is the Super Game Boy. And this is just so it's like, you know, I collect Game Boy games, so I love having this. It's like you could, you know, double or triple the games you have on your system and just play your Game Boy games on TV. And I happen to have Cubert in it. I used to be pretty good about taking these games out and not leaving it in there, but I guess when I put this in storage, I left it in. So, but how it works is you plug your Game Boy game into this, and then plug this into your Super Nintendo, and voila! You can play your Game Boy games on TV, and some of them in color. So, how cool is that? Alright, well, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate everybody who watches, and I guess I will see you next time. Peace out.